What was the moment where you suddenly realised that it was all a sting, that it was all entrapment?
My manager walked in and he just had this look of horror on his face and he was like, it's all a lie. It was all a lie. And he's showing me the headlines come out, Tulisa'S cocaine shame.
Oh my God.
I was going to prison.
Honestly, just tell me everything. What happened?
God. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, I'm Tulisa and I am in great company.
Multi-platinum urban superstars, N-Dubz!
Tulisa, she'd been entrapped by a tabloid newspaper.
I was arrested for concern in the selling of £800 worth of cocaine. It's just mind-blowing.
It's completely mind-blowing.
And I had to stay quiet about the whole thing for that whole, 2 years of my life, while facing 4 years in prison. Everything's gone, and then I had £1 million in legal bills to pay and no future income. I was literally on my last legs. But that day I'd planned to go. So when I woke up in the hospital, I was like, why the hell am I here? I didn't even know what these pills were. I don't know if they'd kill me, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But then it was actually the second time, that was the serious time where I knew exactly what I was doing and how I was gonna do it. On a very long journey off the back of it, but through that I learned inner peace.
Wow.
And I don't think I ever would have without the start of that.
Hey guys, welcome back to Great Company. Today's episode is really, really exciting because it's an exclusive with Tulisa. Now, Tulisa in the episode today reveals so many things she's never, ever spoken about in her public life. And today, for the first time, she is going to be talking about these things. So strap in and get ready for it. Before we start the show, I want to ask one big favor. And that is, if you like this content, if you like Great Company, if you like what we create, if you can click that subscribe button. It takes 1 second, but it does us absolute wonders. It means we can keep making a great show, keep getting great guests, and keep making content that you love and enjoy. Okay, enjoy this episode of Great Company with Tulisa. Do you think people know that we've met before? Because I'm like, I told you this last time, I'm like, honestly, one of your biggest fans. I told you this last time.
I offered you tickets for the London show.
What did
Do you
I say?
remember?
What-
You just didn't respond.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
Yeah, I messaged
What?
after. I was like, "Come down to the show, bring Soph. I've got."
And I just
tickets
didn't
for you."
respond.
You just didn't respond.
That's a can't be. I just don't believe that's true.
Well, you both got tickets to the next one if you want it. So
Are you gonna? You're doing more?
yeah, we will do. We've not announced anything yet, but we're looking. It won't be any later than 2027.
Because last time, remember when we last spoke and you announced that N-Dubz was coming back, the tickets sold out under 10 minutes.
Yeah, crazy.
Dude, that is
I
wild.
think the first set sold out in 3, and then we did another 4 O2s. No, another 3 O2s, so 4 in total.
3 minutes?
Yeah, it's bonkers.
What do you guys open with?
Ouch.
Come on.
Has to be done.
Come on.
Has to be done.
Just
And the whole arena just erupts with 6:30 in the morning, and it's just it's mental.
Does
It's
it
mental.
that feeling when you're back on
Yeah.
stage, like,
Nothing like it.
man,
Nothing like it. I actually worried because in my younger years, I feel like I did all the tours pretty much drunk. I was just like rockstar vibes. So I would get through an entire bottle of JD per show. And obviously, I've aged a bit. Haven't really got it in me anymore. So I'm all teetotal, training in the gym. And I thought, how am I going to do this sober? And best tour of my life.
are you serious?
Loved it. Loved every second of it.
Because you're actually living it in the present and actually
I
enjoying
felt
it. Yeah, you're in it.
present for the first time. I could walk off stage and remember what happened.
Wait, is that what used to happen? You used to go through a whole bottle of JD?
Yeah, I mean, we all did.
Yeah,
We would
yeah.
walk on stage with the JD bottle. It wasn't like a secret. We'd get the audience to neck with us and grab their drinks. We were just little rock stars.
But is that also because of the persona as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, and we'd love to drink on stage. It was just a buzz, do you know what I mean? When you're 21, you can do that.
Man, I used to be the same. I mean, it's when I found alcohol for the first time, I was like, what is this nectar?
How old were you?
I think I was 16 when I
Okay.
really experienced it. I had a Bacardi Breezer
Okay.
when I was 14,
Okay.
and then I had a Cosmopolitan.
Oh,
Yeah, in Club Med.
okay.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah, real spicy. And then I got really drunk. Maybe 15. Maybe it was 15. I got really drunk,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking it was like, what is this like?
Incredible sensation.
I couldn't believe this was a thing
Yeah.
that people get to experience and have. And I was like, man, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. I think I was 11. And my friend's older brother, who was like 15, he walked in the house with a bottle of Jamaican rum and her mum was out and he was like, do you want some? And I was like, yeah. And I basically took a glass just like this, maybe just a tiny bit under, so like a whole mug full to the brim, and I necked the Jamaican rum. That was my first ever experience with alcohol. And the first maybe like half an hour was the best half an hour of my entire life.
Yeah.
And then when the illness kicked in,
Yeah.
it was an experience. Anytime I smell Jamaican rum to this day, it just makes me...
I had it. Mine was absinthe.
Oh, dangerous.
Yeah, it was.
Jesus.
We used to do this thing. I was my first time that happened. I was in Portugal, and we used to drink this thing called Gold Strike and absinthe.
Okay.
And
What's Gold Strike?
Gold Strike it was like the shot that you would do,
Okay.
and they said it had gold flakes in the bottom.
Right.
And the gold flakes. Probably some toxic like lead or something. I was like necking, and suppose the idea was you would have Gold Strike and absinthe mixed.
Yeah.
The Gold Strike would cut your throat and the absinthe would then get into it and it would go into your bloodstream quicker.
Wow.
So I was like necking these things and I remember walking across this like bridge bit next to the beach in Portugal and what I thought was Danny from McFly.
Funny.
Like at the time,
Yeah.
I thought it was Danny from McFly. I was like 14 walking across the last thing I remember, woke up in hospital.
Do we ever find out?
Next to Danny from McFly.
No.
I woke up.
Did you ever find out if it actually was Danny from
I don't think it was. It was a guy.
Right.
Weirdly enough, do you know who I think it was?
Who?
This is such a random caveat, but this is what I found out years later.
Right.
A guy called Ollie Locke did a TV show with me made in Chelsea.
Yeah, I know Ollie because he was in Big Brother with Dappy, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ollie Locke said that he looked like Danny from McFly when he was younger, and he was also in Portugal in the same place when he was young. So I think it was Ollie Locke.
This is one of the world's greatest mysteries.
Mad.
I love Ollie. He always sends me like little random DMs, like out the
Nudes.
blue, like once.
Dappy's your cousin.
Yes.
And Fraser was also friends with Dappy, and also you knew, so you were just a team together, right?
Yeah.
And N-Dubz started at such a young age. I know you've spoken about that. Just before
Yeah.
people who haven't had the context, just tell me just really briefly how that all started.
Well, Dappy and Fraser met at the age of 8 years old in karate lessons.
Yeah.
And then they became best friends. And so then I was always with Dappy. Dappy was like my best mate and my brother, even though he was my cousin.
Who was the leader of you two when you were younger?
Him.
Was he?
He was the leader and the bad influence.
Okay, all right.
And I used to think like he was super cool because he was Mr. Popular and I was a bit of a nerd. And then I obviously met Fraser through him. And then when we got to 11, I decided I wanted to move to Dappy's school, Dappy and Fraser's school, to be with them. And I remember Daps and Faze took me shopping to make me cool. You know, like one of those old school teen movies where the girl's like super nerdy and she's got like glasses and pigtails. And then Dappy's like, right, you're going to wear these Gap jumpers, I'm going to get you these Nike TNs. And then he's like, well, you're going to wear your hair like this. And I do it in a side part in. Going to wear these earrings, and then he like brought me into school like this is my super cool cousin, and I was just there dressed up as an imposter. And yeah, we started making music from then, from the age of like 11 years old, in my dad and my Uncle B's studio. We were little terrors, always bunking off school, but at least we were doing something productive, which paid off. And yeah, we didn't really get any success until the age of, I want to say 17. So there was a long running up before we actually cracked it, of us perfecting our craft and grafting away, making music. There's a lot of unheard.
I can imagine.
When we were called the Little Rinsers.
Like the Little Rascals?
Yeah, but the Little Rinsers, because we rinsed the mic.
The Lickle.
We were 11.
Man, I
Lickle,
like it.
With a CK, Lickle.
Lickle.
Lickle. The Little Rinsers.
I read that when you were younger, all you wanted to be was rich and famous.
Yeah, in that order.
Why was that such an aspiration for you? Why did you want to get that?
Life was just a bit crap for me, and I spent most of my childhood wanting freedom, wanting to live by myself, wanting to have my own place, and I felt like the only way I could do that, and the easiest way I could do it, was to utilise my talent and get rich and famous.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was younger, that's what I wanted to be. I thought that if I could get some sort of fame, then and almost be like loved by everyone, then all of these sort of insecurities that I was feeling
Would go away.
100%.
But they didn't.
Oh no, they got worse.
Yeah.
It got worse.
Always the way.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It's sort of be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. And I think what it is you spend your entire childhood basing your life around this hope of this feeling that everything's going to be perfect if you can gain this. And then when you get there and you feel the void is still there, then it's like 10 times worse, because any anxiety or depression that you had comes crashing down even further, because you're like, well, what now? Because at least you had the hope that if you got to that place, everything would be okay. And then if you get there and then it's not at all, then you're like, now what? Now what's going to fill the void?
It's so right. We have this like blueprint sometimes.
Yeah.
And when the blueprint doesn't live up to what it's meant to be, you're suddenly like stuck. You're like, hang on, my North Star, the thing that I thought was going to get me out of this place isn't.
Yeah.
And then you're suddenly thinking, fuck.
Now what the fuck
Now
am I
what the
gonna
fuck do I do?
Yeah.
Why did you want to escape your childhood so much?
My mum had severe mental health issues. So she has schizoaffective disorder, which is bipolar and schizophrenia combined.
Man.
Look, it's not her fault, but she was constantly going through waves of illness. I don't think I can remember longer than a year of her being completely well, where she didn't, take a turn. And we'd call it episodes. So it would kind of be this progressive journey where she'd start to change. The whole thing could last about 8 months. After maybe a month, 6 weeks of the change, it would get really bad. Then she'd have to be hospitalized, and then she'd remain in hospital for months and months and months. I would go to an aunt's house, and then she'd come out, start going into recovery. I'd be sent over for visits, and then I'd get slowly integrated back into the home again. But this would just repeat every year and a half, constantly. So it just wasn't a great time. And I wanted my space, and I wanted my freedom, and I wanted to escape.
It's hard to understand that when you're a kid, right? That's hard to process.
Hard to comprehend.
Really hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
And I always find it's like, especially with people in the public eye, especially like yourself, people just see you as like Tulisa.
Yeah. We don't walk around with life stories slapped on our forehead.
We
so
don't.
It's very easy to just forget.
Is your mum okay now?
She's okay. Unfortunately, she has Alzheimer's now because of all the years of the constant medication she's had to be on. It shrinks the brain. So, that's now another added thing to the situation. But, it is what it is, as is life. And these things happen.
I can, even the way you're like expressing it, right? I can almost feel like it's almost like in a box. You're just like, that's what it is.
Just pure acceptance. Like, I've just come to the point in my life where if you can't control it, let it go. And I'm like that with everything.
How do you do that? That's, for me, that's a really hard thing sometimes.
I feel like there's no other option. I will go insane otherwise if I can't take on the weight of the world and constant stresses and drama. I'm just at the point where anything that stresses me out or disturbs my peace, I'm just like, I can't.
Good on you, man. Don't get through that barrier. Hold that arm up.
Oh, 100%. Like, I couldn't be any other way. I think because I am prone to, depression and stuff like that. My mental health can be fragile, so I have to do the utmost to protect it, which means surrounding myself with constant positivity, no negative energy, no toxicity, no low vibrational humans. It's just keeping my life the way I want it, creating the life I want to live, and creating the environment that I want to be in. And a lot of the time we have a choice with that.
Totally.
And we forget that. And there's a lot we can do. And I always say, when you're going through life and you're feeling like shit isn't right, look into you and go, okay, what is there for me to do? And no matter how small or how big, what change can I make? Before you start, moaning and looking out to the whole world going, it's everyone else, and putting blame. Do what you can control first, and then see how you feel. Well
done. That's a really great advice. It's 100% true. And I suppose when that's all going on at home, and then N-Dubz is that huge escape, right? So you're then like, right, I can put my all into this because this is going to take me away from all of that. Yeah. So here we go. I'm just going to go full blast into it.
100%. It's like I was obsessed with it. I used to sit in my bed at night banging my head against the wall, going, "You have to let me fucking make it!" Like talking to God. I remember once it's so effed
That's
up.
mad.
I made this, like, I thought I was making. Obviously, God doesn't do deals like this. But I was like, I'm willing to sacrifice something. I looked up to the sky and I said to God, "You can take love away. I'll never have a partner. I'll never get married. I'll never have any children. I'll never be in love with anyone. Just give me my career. That's all I want. I'll trade that if I have to. I'll sacrifice it."
Wow.
Like God makes deals, but that was,
but
that
sometimes
was my thing.
Sometimes you make a deal with yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so then you think you're making a deal with God, but actually you're making a deal with self.
Yeah.
And so therefore you end up, again, be careful what you wish for, because then what you do is you start sacrificing everything to gain that success. And normally that is social life, love life, friendships, everything.
Yeah, 100%.
When you became famous, what did it feel like to you?
Oh, it was like, I've done it. It was that, yes. It was, I felt like I wasn't alone as well, because it's all that I'd prayed for. So I was like, you gave it to me. So it was that kind of feeling. Life made. Nothing can describe that buzz, that initial buzz when we first cracked it. I can remember doing the first show where we got success, and it was in a place called Red Hill, and there was like this just a 2,000 capacity club, but we'd sold out, and we went in there, 2,000 kids singing every word to our song back to back from the top of their lungs, screaming at us like we were bloody Justin Bieber. And me, Dappy and Fazer just looked at each other and were like, what is going on? And that was the moment. And then B got to see that, Dappy's dad, and then he literally passed like 3 days later, but he got to see the moment before he went.
And B was your uncle who basically made it all happen.
Yeah, what a ledge. Props to Uncle B.
N-Dubz becomes huge. You then become XFactors' youngest judge on it. It's like high flying, everything is going.
Yeah.
And it is like you're the name on everyone's lips. Like everyone.
Yeah, it was a crazy.
It was a crazy. I remember being at university and just seeing you and just thinking you're the queen. Or you would just stay. Yeah, well, 100%. So that was the worst thing I've ever done. But you were like 100%. Like and then the next stage is what's happening is that the press is constantly like after you. They're constantly after you. They're trying to find things. They're just digging things up. They're just doing everything. They're going for you. And then suddenly you're caught in a sting.
An entrapment.
Completely. Explain to me everything. Like I want to know every little bit of detail. Honestly, just tell me everything. What happened?
God. Okay, here we go. I had gone to LA. I was really sick of doing X Factor because of the press attention and the media. It was really heavy for me, so I wanted an escape. So I thought, let me go into acting. It means I could move to LA. I could, become someone else when I'm working. As soon as I got off the plane, I had received like a Twitter DM from 21st Century Fox, someone at 21st Century Fox using their official account, putting me in touch with these Bollywood/Hollywood producers that are interested in me for a movie role. The long story short is I go into about 4 to 5 months of meetings with these producers. I've flown to Las Vegas, like first class flights, hotels. They basically told me they're doing their first big Bollywood/Hollywood production. It's going to have it's going to have Leonardo DiCaprio in it. And the lead female is going to be this sort of ghetto girl, like a ghetto girl from Camden. And it's this kind of troubled love story because of like a culture clash. But she's like really hood and she's kind of naughty and she's from the streets. And we think you'd be right for the role because you are that character in real life. But we want to give it to also possibly Keira Knightley to play. So I know it's so messed up. But when you're getting DMs from 21st Century Fox and you're getting flown to Las Vegas
100%.
and
you're looking for your way out, you're looking for that moment as well.
Yeah, and there's a million actors that they've hired, right? So they've got their own accountants, they've got lawyers, they're pulling up contracts, they're pulling out scripts. Like, it was so extreme. Like, they're sitting down with my accountant talking about, you know, how I'm going to receive the £3 million fee. And then they tried to get me done for offshore accounts as well. So they were trying to put that to my accountant. Luckily, he was like, no, we don't do all that around here. But yeah, and they just kept goading me to play up to the bad girl role. There was an assistant of one of the producers who was a female. And this assistant kind of befriended me. She said she was a big Tulisa fan. She knew about my mum's mental health. She knew about how spiritual I was. She'd read my original autobiography. And she's like, I really want to help you. And she would pull me in the toilet and take the recorders off, like herself. She would have left her recorders off. And then she'll say to me, listen, I need you to go out there and up the ante. Like, you have to make him believe that you are this ghetto chick in the role. Otherwise, he's not going to give you the role. He's going to give it to Keira Knightley. So I literally go from saying, yeah, I used to smoke a bit of weed and I was in a bit of a, you know, rough group of girls and we used to have fights, to, oh yeah, I used to sell crack. You know, I know people with guns. I know every drug dealer in London. Like, you can hear the difference from, like, I have this prior conversation, then I've gone in the bathroom, then I come out and it's like, whoo, off the Richter scale.
Because all your dreams are about to come true.
Yeah.
And so you're going to try and sell it any way you possibly can to get it.
What difference does it make? In my mind, I'm like, I can do this role.
100%.
So if you want me to just blag that I'm super ghetto, I can blag you. So I did. And then they just kept pestering me about getting drugs. Well, now, obviously, I've said I know every drug dealer in London, and they keep harassing me like, oh, we need coke. And I just kept making excuses. Like, every time I was out with them, every time there's a dinner, because I didn't know anybody.
They kept asking for it.
Yeah, like, can you get us some coke? And obviously they're like Hollywood people, and like all the fucking people are up to all sorts. So I wasn't surprised by it.
And were you feeling at this time that this is weird, this is strange, this is
No, because half the industry does cocaine. So I didn't. I was just probably one of the only few that didn't. So to me, it was like, yeah, of course they're on gear.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised at all. I should have thought, why can't they get their own if they've got so many links? Why do you have to keep pestering me? But they just kept pestering, and I'd said no multiple times.
Yeah.
And then eventually they got a telephone number and they called that number and they asked for £800 worth of coke in one call. £800. And then basically I was arrested for concern in the selling of £800 worth of cocaine, Class A drugs.
Man, what, like, it's
it's just mind blowing.
It's completely mind blowing. That. Okay, so what was the moment where you suddenly realised that it was all a sting, that it was all entrapment, that none of it was real?
My manager walked in. I was sat in the living room playing PlayStation, and my manager walked in. And he just had this look of horror on his face. And he was like, it's all a lie. It was all a lie. It was all a lie. I was like, well, what's all a lie? And he was like, it was all a lie. And he's showing me the headline, like the headlines come out, Tulisa'S Cocaine Shame. And
oh my God.
Everything is in there. And the recordings of me saying all this fucking messed up shit, you know, that I fucking used to sell crack and everyone I know has got guns and I know every drug dealer in London. They're just relaying that in the story, but not saying why. So there's no mention of the entrapment, all the things that they've done. They spent 4 months doing this. It's just Tulisa went and set up £800 worth of cocaine to be sold. And she also said all of this to our person that was recording her. So, like, with no reason why. And then I had to stay quiet about that. It started when I was 24, finished when I was 26. And I had to stay quiet about the whole thing for that whole, like, 2 years of my life. Just letting the public think that while facing 4 years in prison.
Man, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You're 24, you're at the top of your game. You have everything going for you.
Yeah.
And then because these articles come out and everything just stops.
Yeah. Everything's gone.
Everything.
So I don't have this movie role, and now I haven't fought to keep X Factor because I've thought I've got the film. So that's why I just wasn't interested in them. All my branding endorsements, everything's frozen. I just put a £500,000 deposit on a house and I hadn't completed the mortgage yet. So I lost the £500,000. And then I had £1,000,000 in legal bills to pay and no future income.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah, it's catastrophe.
it's like it's beyond.
Yeah.
It's the eye of the storm to the utmost level.
Yeah, utmost level. And then as well, they did it in such a clever way. There's so many technicalities with the way they did this entrapment. When it gets to court, number one, entrapment isn't illegal
I thought it was.
in the UK at the
Fine.
time. It's not illegal unless they can prove, if they can prove that they have a source that led them to believe that I actually was selling cocaine.
Yeah.
So their theory was I was a drug dealer.
Uh-huh.
I was an X-Factor judge /
Drug dealer.
dealer in my spare time. Right. So this was their story. And that they had a source that could confirm this to them, which is why they came after me. But they don't have to reveal that source in court because of something called journalistic privileges. So if they couldn't prove they had a source, the whole case would have fallen apart. But they don't have to prove they have a source because of journalistic privileges. So their word, it can be accepted.
So they're in a loophole.
Right, so they're in a loophole. Then the next loophole is my whole defense is this woman called Nish who kept goading me and bringing me to the toilet, telling me to say this stuff. But Nish doesn't have to appear in court. She's just a journalist that he hired. And because of journalistic privileges, she doesn't have to turn up. And if she doesn't turn up, I can't speak about her. Therefore, I can't talk about my defense. So they locked me down in the position where I couldn't even say to the jury what had happened. So I couldn't defend myself in court. So it got to the point where my lawyer was saying, you're going to have to shout out what happened, the whole Nish thing, to the jury, and they're going to hold you in contempt and they're probably going to drag you to a cell. But it's the only way they're going to find out because you're not allowed. They basically, in the pre-trial, I wasn't allowed to put forward my defense because it involved Nish, and Nish didn't have to come to court.
Did you shout it out?
It didn't get to that point. So what happened is a guy that Mahmood worked with for like 20 years plus.
This is the
did all
guy
his-
who acts as the sheikh.
Yeah, so Mahmood is the guy that acts as the sheikh. And his guy that he works with, his name was Alan Smith. He plays the driver, and so he would drive me around to locations, also recording me and listening to me. Now, when they initially approached Alan, the police did, Alan had said that I had had a conversation in the car about being anti-drugs, that there was someone that I knew that was hooked on drugs, how distraught I was about it, how I was going to try and do everything to get them off of it, and that I was going to try and bring them to my house and keep them there and get them clean, and that I couldn't have drug dealers anywhere near my house. It was all anti-drugs, anti-drug dealers. And he gave that statement to the police, which is true. This was a conversation I had in the back of the car. Mahmood realised that he'd made this statement and he got him to retract the statement. So then a week later or a couple of weeks later, Alan Smith calls back the police and says, oh, it wasn't her. I made a mistake. It was her friend next to her that had this conversation. But this is something my lawyers were bringing up in court. And in the initial pre-trial, they had said to Mahmood, did you tell Mr. Alan Smith to change his statement? No, I didn't tell him to do that. And then Alan Smith stepped forward the week of trial while we're in court and just handed my lawyers the email of him emailing him to change it, like a guilty conscience.
My fucking God.
And he saved my life. Otherwise, I was going to prison because I couldn't even defend myself. I was banged to rights.
You think you would have ended up in prison?
Yeah, because I couldn't even give my defense. What's my argument? I'm legally not allowed to say what happened.
It is mad that the legal system works that way. That you can't defend yourself when you have evidence and people there.
No, it's just because of legal loopholes. It's not about right and wrong. It's just legal technicalities.
And then this man Mahmood, he got sent to prison.
He then got sent to prison.
What a fool.
Yeah.
When you're in the court and you're going through that moment and you don't know what your future is going to hold, how How scary is that moment?
Do you know what? Like, I do mention a lot in the book is the hope. I had this spiritual sense. There were times that I felt hopeless, but there were other moments like in the court. And I actually still have this note that I wrote. I used to doodle when I was in the courtroom. And I wrote this note that I said, good always prevails over evil. And literally within, I think it was like 5 minutes of me writing that note is when the case basically fell apart. So I have that piece of paper framed in my office.
You're like an ultimate manifester. Like,
oh my God, I'm so sick at manifesting.
That's unreal.
Everything I manifest happens. It's crazy.
That is wild.
It's crazy stuff. But I always had a sense, like I just knew. And I knew he was going to get done in as well.
You knew it?
Yeah.
What do you like in a relationship? Honestly, what do you think?
The old me,
Uh-huh.
bit of a demon, a little bit toxic. I think I was just very much the kind of person that I didn't like to be vulnerable. I didn't like to lose control. And I wanted to be loved. I didn't do anything with malicious intent, but I'd probably play a lot of mind games because I wanted to reel someone in and have them in the way that I wanted them and wanted to be the one that was controlling where the emotions were going. So I was a little bit toxic, but it's something that I've become aware of a lot of things about myself. So in the past few years, the person I've become, I think I'd be I think I'm a 10 out of 10 partner, to be honest. Got it all covered.
Because you said you were celibate for 3 years.
I was.
Okay, let's go.
Well, that's...
All right, let's go.
Oh, that was...
That must have been a wild ride with that.
No, I was. No, that's in the book. I've spoken about that in the prologue in the end. I'm not gonna lie. You know.
What was the reason to go celibate? Because you just felt like...
Just because people think there's some kind of like vow I've made like to God or like to myself. I just am very picky. Finding someone that I actually like is very few and far between. And then if I do find someone that I like, I can feel physical attraction to them. I can enjoy their company. I can be very flirtatious. But I don't think about having sex with them until I start building quite a deep emotional connection.
Got it.
And it takes me a long time. And it has to be a certain type of person that I really like to even want to get to that place.
Yeah.
So it's just very few and far between with me. So it's less about like me going, no, I don't want to have sex with anyone. There's just no one I wanted to have sex with. I just didn't want to. Like there was no point where I was like, yeah, this is right for me.
Yeah, and you feel like sex is like a sacred thing. Not a sacred thing, yeah, but it's important.
I think my body is sacred. I think all women are sacred and they should be worshipped a lot more so than they are being treated in today's society.
I agree.
There you go. Good man.
Yeah. Imagine
So he's a happy woman.
Imagine I said I don't agree. Imagine if I said
Bad
that.
idea.
Yeah, bad idea. Yeah, because I do think we live in this time, right? Just to get, it's like with OnlyFans and people say,
hookup culture.
It's not I don't think it's, and I'm a big, I don't watch porn.
Yeah.
And I watch porn before.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I did watch porn, everyone.
Yeah, I admit.
Yeah, I watched porn.
I watch porn.
But I don't watch porn anymore because I definitely think that it desensitized us. I think that quick, easy fix.
You did the research and became aware of...
Man, that quick, easy fix that you have the whole time.
It separates you from the connection.
100%.
It should be about that. Sex is energy exchange and that energy is sacred. And you're also taking on other people's energy when you're sleeping around. You don't realize the things, aside from STDs, the other things you're putting into your body. You know, you're messing with your energy field. The energy has got to be right when you're having that exchange. And it should be about the connection. So, yeah, I'm just a bit of a prude.
You're not a prude at all. I think it's the right way to be. Are you with anyone now?
Not currently.
But you now want to find love?
I don't believe in seeking. I think to seek is to be in a state of lack. I think...
Explain that to me.
Well, if you're saying, oh, I need to find someone, I need to be with someone, I need this, I need a relationship, or I can't be happy, you're devaluing yourself. Like, what is it you're afraid of being alone? And I feel like if you just let go, like the universe is going to do what it wants with me anyway.
Yeah.
Like I can't control it.
And you believe that, right?
Yeah.
So
like,
do I. I believe that, but
what is meant to be is meant to be. And I'm just like, cool, do what you want, mate.
man, that's freaking freeing to be that way. I know. I'm learning more and more to be like that. I definitely wasn't like that. I try to control everything. Like,
yeah, well, same. So did I. But you can't. Of course, I had a whole plan, but that's one thing you can't control. You can't control that.
So have you made peace with everything that's happened to you? Have you been able to forgive everyone?
Yeah. But I've gone through this phase recently where at first when I came off the trial, I was all love and light. And literally like I would catch flies to release them out of my house. I wouldn't even squat a fly. It was like that, like Buddhism level.
Well, because you were just so...
I was so...
in a moment of like, I'm going to try and help everything because goodness coming to me.
Like just complete love and light. Like I was just like super sensitive, super soft, like at my maximum level of empathy for everything and everyone.
That's because you were in such a vulnerable place, right?
And
you were just so grateful that you're out of the trial, you're past it.
Yeah, and I knew pain, so I was so sensitive to other people's pain.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and then I actually began having dreams where I'd have a being, so to speak, say to me, like sometimes before I slept, I'd ask, like, what am I missing? What do I need to do here? And I kept being told, you need to balance the light with the dark. You're too much on the side of the light where there's room for weakness. You know, you're leaving yourself open. There is darkness in this world, and sometimes you need darkness to fight it. So you need to balance yourself out.
So how do you balance that?
Well, I had to toughen up a bit as well. So you can't be too love and light because you're going to have no boundaries, and you know you're going to leave yourself open and be vulnerable. And there's arseholes to fight in the world, and who's going to fight the bad guys if you've got no...
If you've got no resilience there, if you've got no grit, like holding on.
Exactly. And so now I've come to the point where I'm finally at the balanced period. So I have the total savage that I used to be kind of just parked in this little box. You know, female boss just kind of stays there until she's 100% necessary. And then I pop her back out and I'm like, I'm not going to deal with this one. I'll let her come through. So I have a tamed beast.
How savage were you back in the day?
I was just...
I
was very ballsy. I wouldn't take crap from anyone. I always spoke my mind, but I was very fair with it.
You would just boom.
Yeah, just straight to the point. And I have become...
I need a little bit of that sometimes.
Have
can I take
a full read?
Okay. Was it a persona? Was the female boss a persona? Or was it actually you? Or was it a part of you?
It was a part of me that was created as a defense mechanism because I was dealing with constantly so much crap. So it was a persona, but it became a real part of me because when you're dealing with constant nonsense every day, you have to deal with it. And I had to become that person to deal with that. So then it became a very real part of me.
Because there's the iconic moment on the X Factor where you would come up and you would hold your... Let's frickin' go, man. That's like my childhood dreams coming true. Honestly, you kidding me?
Brilliant,
man. Because it like that whole X Factor was just, that's when it was. 40 million viewers a week or whatever crazy numbers it was.
Crazy numbers.
You looked after Little Mix.
Yeah.
Do you still speak to the girls?
Yeah, I do. I do speak to them here and there. Funny enough, people are like, oh, did you take care of them afterwards? I was like, well, I went through this afterwards. So they were then the ones taking care of me. So I'd be getting, flowers off them. They were always checking in. They've been so good to me. So good to me after.
Did Simon Cowell ever reach out?
Yeah, he did. He brought me back on the show after. So not as a permanent judge, but as a guest.
I imagine there are people listening right now, right?
Yeah.
And perhaps they're in their darkest moment.
Yeah.
They're probably down and out. They've lost their job. They lost their relationship. Maybe they lost their kids. Maybe they don't know what to do. Maybe you're their inspiration. And they're just like, do you know what? I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm checking out right now. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Like where you were. What would you say to them?
Well, number one, you just need to hold the fuck on. Hang on in there. I always set myself time frames. When I'm at like my worst points and I just reach that peak of like, can't do this anymore. I go, okay, that's how it feels now. You've got this, and this happening. Give yourself to this date and just see how you feel then. Rather than, making assumptions about your life and just I just go with it until that point. And it always changes by the time it gets to that point.
Really?
Always, yeah. I set myself these time goals. And two of the reasons that I eventually was like, I want to get this book out now, or three. One, because I was really passionate about it and I worked super hard on it. And for me, it was a great little piece of art. I also felt like through reading it is the only way you could ever truly know me. Like anyone that reads that, you're going to know me as a person now. And the last one was the inspiration. Like when you get through it at the end, and this is me getting through it. Remember, I've had to re-edit this 1,000 times. Imagine me having to read over and over and over my own story. And I always start off going, oh, not again. And every single time I've read my own book over like 50 times. And by the time I get to the end, I'm like, I just feel like there's just so much hope in the world. There's so much hope. And that feeling of hope and inspiration and miracles, because I mentioned a lot about, my spiritualism in there. And I just hope that it can do that. I just hope that everyone that reads it at the end comes out with this feeling of hope and inspiration for whatever they're going through. Like, do you know what? If she can get through that and the miracles that have gone on in that situation, I can get through this.
Man. 100%. It must be incredibly cathartic, right? To see how far you've come and got through it all and been there. And like, you're here now standing going like, right, I'm through it. I'm accepting.
Crazy. Like, it's a crazy sensation. And like that, every time I'd finish the read, like when I finished the last read and I just sat in my living room and I looked around and I was like, wow, like how was I there? And now I'm here.
Man, it's amazing, dude. One of the reasons you're here, right?
Yeah.
Firstly, because we're buddies. I like to think so.
Better reply to my DM, mate.
I know, man. Fucking damn straight. But the other, probably more important reason is that you've written your book, Judgment.
Yes.
We got it here in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And reading it, but your life has been very tough.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
It's insanely, like almost like takes your breath away.
Yeah.
At certain places. And it's raw.
Yeah.
And it's honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautifully written.
Yeah.
And it's heavy.
Yeah.
Because in the second paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you start reading it, you talk about trying to take your own life.
Yeah.
And you're almost put into the moment of what's going on.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me, like, firstly, why you wanted to start with that, but also what that moment was like and how old you were and where you were?
So it was obviously it's 2013, so it's about the year of the trial. And I wanted, initially when I've written that, I've done it in the timeline of events in 2013. But when I pieced together the book as more of a work of art, what I want to do is instantly pull people in. So I thought, let's start with that moment. Because, if you open a book, you grab someone in the first chapter. So if it starts with, I want to kill myself, then you're going to want to find out why. So I started with that for art purposes.
Man, I'm just like...
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that was more of I called it like a lesser attempt. So I speak about 2 attempts in the book. And the first was just, I give up. I didn't even know what these pills were. And like I say in the book, I'm like, I don't know if they'd kill me, but I'm going to do it anyway. And they didn't. But then it was actually the second time, that was when it was all over. That was the serious time where I knew exactly what I was doing and how I was going to do it. So when I woke up in the hospital, I was like, why the hell am I here?
But you know how like that, like from like a fan point of view, but also like from someone who's spoken to you, that is like distressing and upsetting, and just every part of my like body wants to say to you like, why? Like, don't do that. Like,
yeah, of course. Well, yeah, obviously now my head's in that space, but at the time, I don't know. It's weird because everyone would hear that and go, oh my God, like that's so intense. That's so extreme. It was just like I was in this dark place. I was super unhappy. I couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. And I thought, even if I push to get there, it's going to take me so long. I just don't want to spend any more time being here and being miserable.
And when you wake up in the hospital,
yeah,
and you realize that you're still alive, what feeling do you have then?
I was fuming. I turned around to my friend and said, why the fuck am I still here? But, you know, that passed. It's all part of the journey. If I was going to
100%,
go, I would have gone. So I obviously wasn't meant to go. So that for me was the universe's way of going, well, you ain't going anywhere. And I thought to myself, all right, I get the message. I'm meant to be here. I'll stick around for whatever you got in store for me.
Man, that's like wild.
Yeah. But I haven't ever tried to do anything like that again off the back of trying so hard and failing. I was like, okay, that's my sign. I'll take it. All right, I'll stick it out.
Why do you think these people wanted to set you up? Why do they go to all these lengths, spending all this money, going through all this time, putting you on first-class flights, meeting you in hotels, meeting you everywhere, to try and get a headline, ultimately ruin your life and try and send you to prison?
Yeah. Well, it's something that I deliberate, you know, a lot in the book, and I might hint at things, but, you know, a long story short is I think at my short time in the larger, more commercial industry, I think I ruffled a few feathers. I think I wouldn't play the game. And I think to some people I ended up as a little bit of a threat, and they wanted to take me out because they'd maybe given too much power to the wrong person. They didn't want to play the game.
It's an extreme way to go. Did you sue?
I did.
I mean, suing, winning, whatever that is, it doesn't even
No.
the damage that it does mentally, physically, to the ripple effect, the butterfly effect to friends and family, to everyone around you.
Yeah, of course.
Man, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Honestly, I'll tell you honestly, Jay, I wouldn't take back a second of any of it.
Really?
Yeah. Like that year before the sting happened, you know, we were talking about getting to that place in life where you've achieved everything, but you can't feel the void. That is where I was at. I'd got to the biggest position I'd ever wanted to be at. I was living the dream. I was an XFactors judge. I had everything. I was in my massive mansion, mills in the bank. And I was like, I'm gone clear. I'm flying. And I was so depressed and empty inside, the most miserable I had ever been. And my whole life, as I told you, I'd pray, success, give me success. I want to be successful. And for the first time ever, I stopped praying for success. And that year, I prayed for, my words were, I pray for enlightenment. I want to see things clearly. I want to see the world for what it is. I want to feel things clearly. I wanted to be fulfilled internally. And then the sting happened. And I'd literally said, give me my year of enlightenment. And through that, I learnt on a very long journey off the back of it, but through that I learnt inner peace.
Wow.
And I don't think I ever would have without the start of that journey and the journey it took me on. I used to think that the purpose was success, the maximum success, and, you know, the outside things and the surface 100%. Things, the material things. Now I understand that the purpose is becoming my highest self, ascending to the highest version of myself, vibrating on the highest energy, seeing the most clearly I possibly can, being in touch with myself, with others. It's way, way deeper. My purpose now is spiritual ascension for myself. That's the purpose, and inner peace and happiness. That's the mission. And I would never have really got to that place without that experience and every other experience in my life.
It's quite an accepting thing from you to be like, this has to that has to happen.
It had to have happened. I know it could not. I could not have got to this place any other way.
So you religious?
I'm on this like thin line between religion and spiritualism. So I believe in some aspects of religion. I'm an omnist. I believe in some aspects of all different religions. But I feel like too much of religion has been written by man, and man that may twist words and things for their own ends to divide and conquer. I don't believe if there was this higher power, he would decide to send individuals to one place and then leave the rest of the world in despair. I think it would make sense that there would be, someone sent down to everywhere. And what's happening is the men in charge of these stories are just changing the stories to make it separate. I think we're all God's children. But I don't believe in God in the sense of how he's necessarily described in the Bible.
Yeah.
I think it's a consciousness in the universe that we're all a part of. But
when our loved ones leave us, where do you think they go?
I think they go to, I believe in the reincarnation process. I'm very much into, I'd say to describe my spiritual beliefs, you'd have to read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. And
Sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry? I've just finished Holes. Do you remember that book?
You should have just finished Judgment.
Sorry, let's start it again. I just finished Judgment. What is that again?
It's basically, Thoth never claimed to be a god, but the people deemed him to be a god.
Okay.
Like the god of wisdom and knowledge. And these emerald tablets were found. It was actually copies, not the actual emerald tablets themselves. And it speaks about basically pretty much the meaning of life, the reincarnation cycle, the different ascension levels that we go through. I feel like Earth is the school of learning, and we send ourselves down here and we sign these soul contracts before we come down. We agree to even, me and you are going to have this podcast at some point, and your mum's going to be your mum, your dad's going to be your dad, your partner's going to be your partner. And we live out our life with all these experiences that we kind of pre-choose to help us ascend. And each lifetime we're someone different, completely different situations. And through continuously repeating that process, every time we kind of go back up, we remember who we are and and go, oh my God, we have that information. And then you go in again, oh my God, I've just lived that life. And so by the end of it, you can imagine the kind of wise and ascended being you would be. And when you're talking about getting to heaven, for me, it's about ascension, maybe higher realms. And to do that, you have to repeat through the reincarnation process. If I was to bet my life on it, like someone said, press a button now, you have to pick something, that is what I choose. But I am fully aware that the man who thinks he knows it all is the stupidest man in the world. So I also could be completely wrong, and I'm completely aware of that as well. There could be nothing.
Could be nothing.
But if I had to lean on something, what my heart and my logic and research tells me, that would be it.
The reason I ask is because, Rich, I heard your dad, Steve, passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
It's been a crap month.
Man.
Yeah. It is what it's part of the life process.
I know.
Yeah, and I'll see him again in the next one. And so I think it makes it easier for me to handle death in some situations because of my beliefs also. I think my spiritualism has a big effect on all areas of my life.
Were you close to your dad?
So we became friends again after a period of not speaking for a while. And then now in my older years, we became close again, which was nice that we got to have that make-up period and get that bond back before we passed away. But it leaves you with a lot of regret because we had a bit of a troubled relationship at the time.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, years wasted.
But you made it up.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
It's funny, we get to this age now, we suddenly start to realize that, like, maybe you realized way before me, but I'm definitely realizing now, and I've said this before, that, like, life is temporary.
Yeah.
And I've only started to look around and realize that it is, and it's really precious. And,
and fleeting.
And sometimes I think sometimes we hold grudges or resentment, or we hold anger towards people, and actually that only sort of hurts us.
Yes.
And there's no point doing that. We need to sort of get rid of that and
let it go.
Yeah, but how do people do that? If you have resentment towards someone, maybe it's a parent, a loved one, a sibling, I don't know what it is. How do you let that go?
I feel like you can't really let it go until you find peace within here. If you're holding so much resentment towards someone, you're basically saying, I'm reliant on your actions for my happiness. I'm relying on your actions and for you to be good to me, to validate me. So you need to start distinguishing the way you view yourself and the way others view you is not personal. It's not about you. That's about them. So you need to work on how you feel about you.
Great. Yeah.
And until you really find that inner peace and self-worth and self-value and self-love internally, only then can you look at what other people do and go, well, it doesn't, I know who I am.
What makes me so angry is that to get a headline, people are almost willing to let someone die in order for that to happen.
Of course, especially about them.
I mean, that is...
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's more than crazy. It's like it makes me so like angry inside that people do that they can see people in the public eye, and use them as fodder to try and sell newspapers. Yeah,
and I go into it a lot in the book about all the other crazy stuff that was happening. It was more than just the sting. It was
100%.
Like the 24-hour surveillance, another repeated attempted sting out in Dubai. I was at the point where I was literally fearing for my life, and it was quite literally the craziest year I have ever experienced. And then at the same time, I was going through this extremely, I met someone and ended up falling in love that year, and I had this extremely chaotic love life happening. And when I first started writing the book, I was like, right, I'm just going to kind of document everything. And
because you started documenting everything.
Yeah. And I started doing that. And then I met, I call him Jacob in the book. And then I met Jacob, and then I started writing about that because I was just writing about my everyday life. And
like journaling in a way.
Yeah, like journaling. But then I would go into story tangents where I'm telling it like a story, like a novel, but a first person narrative.
Wow.
And then I kind of had this crazy chaotic drama / love story going on when I'm reading back at it. And I was like, well, I'm going to write it in novel form. So I stuck to the first person narrative and the storytelling aspect. So when you think, I brought out an autobiography about 2013, it's not an autobiography in that sense. It's actually, if you didn't know who Tulisa was and I gave you this book and you read it, you just think it was a novel.
100%.
Unless someone told you it was true.
100%, and that is exactly what it is. And that's why people listening right now, you need to go and get this book, because it is not only going to delve in so much more to everything else, but it reads like a novel. Yeah. And it's honest, and it's fun, and it's exciting, and it's dangerous, and it's
actually like there's like parts where it feels like a bit of a thriller, then it feels
Helen
like
has written down it's also really sexy.
Did you get to read it?
Helen is like obsessed. Helen is honestly.
You loved it, yay! That's what we like.
Honestly, I promise you, Helen is like obsessed.
Yeah, no, I bloody know it's good. I spent 10 years writing it.
But man, isn't that amazing? That like documenting and journaling and keeping all of these things, and then getting it together and having this moment to write it.
100%. Well, I wrote it all during 2013, and then I continued writing. So this is where I have a part 2. I continued writing for the next 2 years, so like the aftermath. And then I was left with 3 novels worth of material. So I whittled it down and then split it into 2. And then I spent the last 10 years going back and forth, editing it again. And then every 2 years, I always feel like I kind of evolve as a person. And then I'd go back and kind of adapt things, putting in a part of who I am now.
Yeah.
And then I was terrified to release it for the past 10 years because I knew there's so much juice in there. There's so much goss. It's just headline
after headline,
central.
After headline.
And that feeling for me was like, oh my God, like I don't know. I do not, like, I can't do it. I can't cope with all the headlines because I'm giving everything in there. It's literally like, and not just everything, but it's done in a way that it's just all the best bits. So it's just juice, all the best moments, whether it's the crazy moments, the thrilling moments, the terrifying moments, the sexy moments, back to back. It's just like,
How mad would it be if out of all of this became a movie and you starred in the movie?
Don't, because that is my thing. I think it could, because it's such a crazy story. When I'm telling you, it is mental. But that would be the dream. I would love that.
Why do you want to release it now? Why is this moment? Is it now? You're like, this is the time.
Because now I'm over it.
Really?
Yeah. And now I'm, like when I went in the jungle, I said I was doing it because I wanted to overcome this fear, and I've had this anxiety for so long, and it did the trick. So it's like, I don't mind dealing with press.
Okay.
You
sure?
And, being in the public, and I don't mind those headlines coming out because they were over 10 years ago. Like, it's done. Write it.
He said, honestly, like, I just want to say, like, a big thank you. I want people to go and get this book. So when can they get it?
Tomorrow. It's out tomorrow.
Let's go.
The audiobook's also available, which I narrated. That was an experience, narrating the whole book as well. But yeah, it's super juicy. It's super exciting. Like, I'm not making this up. I worked my ass off on this book for 10 years. It's bloody good.
We'd like to end the conversation with 8 questions. Are you ready for quickfire?
Okay, go for it.
What's a saying or phrase that makes you smile or cheers you up?
You got to go through it to grow through it.
Let's freaking go. Best compliment anyone's ever given you?
Oh my God. But it's kind of toxic.
Go for it.
Oh no. One of my ex-boyfriends said that I was a human cancer that rots the brain, but it was only because he was like a total F-boy and I basically won. I was the kryptonite. So the fact that he said that about me, I was like, yes, I got him.
What scares you most about yourself?
My dark side. I think if I was in a zombie apocalypse, I would just kill everyone and take over the world.
You would get through it. Yeah, you get through it. When was the last time you cried?
Yesterday.
Why?
Because of my dog.
Yeah, it's the hardest.
Yeah.
What's something you can't let go of?
Something I can't let go of.
Maybe nothing.
Cheating.
Yeah.
You're out of here.
Yeah, you get out of here. What's your guilty pleasure?
I don't think it is a guilty pleasure, but like all like reality TV.
Yeah, my wife's the same. She freaking.
Yeah.
I'm on like the 100 seasons of Atlanta, Real Dogs Wives, whatever. Like, it's honestly like, I don't know what we're watching. Like now they're like, I don't know, buying up. I don't know what it is. Everything.
I don't feel guilty about it though.
No.
I mean, I have a wheat intolerance and I still eat pizza.
Yeah.
For myself, but that's like I'm not really guilty about anything I do that makes me happy. That's my business.
I love that. What turns you off?
What turns me off in a human?
Anything.
What turns me off? Ignorance and oversized egos.
What turns you on?
Love and light and empathy.
Okay. What do you like most about yourself?
My ability to care for and advise others.
That's great. And bonus favourite swear word?
Wank stain.
Jeez, you're the best, man. I really appreciate it. Go and get this book, everybody. You're the best. Thank you so much. Man, that was amazing.